Hello everybody. So today I had to move the truck around a little bit because I got a buddy of mine coming over with this 2016 5.7 and he wants to, or he needs to put an exhaust manifold in. I guess he's got a leak somewhere and I don't know, we'll have to figure out what it is. He was saying that Ram used a stainless steel bolt to hold those heads on, and they're brittle and they snap. So we're going to take a look at that today and see what we can find out.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
Forward. There.
I know that if I left all that snow on there, I'm going to be taking a shower. Not to mention you get water all over your garage, so I like not finish off.
It's so dry around here it would evaporate. Alright.
The big test in question is if I can't get a drill and that bolt is broke off next to the head and I need an angle, I ain't going to fuck with it today.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the lubricants because I want to get that done as soon as possible because it has 82,000 miles on it. Usually,
Yeah.
what do they say, 50, 60,000? I think 60 is when you should do the...
Okay, so it's over on the speed.
right, on the lube.
Okay, so we're draining the rear end in this 2016. That comes out that hole. Takes a 14 millimeter Allen wrench, which we didn't have, so we got a 9/16 Allen wrench and ground it down. And then I think that's the fill hole, so that's just a rubber plug that we pulled out, and that's what we'll fill back up once this is done draining. Okay, then the front differential. Here is the drain plug. Do we remember what size that was?
That is an 8 millimeter.
So, yep, 8 millimeter to pull the drain. And I think it's 8 millimeter for the fill drain too, which is right up here. So,
Yep.
and that takes what, 75?
75, 85, but I'm putting 75, 90
75, 90 in there?
because it's close enough. You're not going to hurt it with putting a 90.
Okay, there. Okay, so this stuff, it takes 1.16 quarts of APGL5
API.
or API
Yep.
GL5 fluid. So if you're looking for something or you want to know what it is, it takes just a little bit more than a quart. Okay, so here we have our problem that we got to deal with. These two bolts have
Sheared
broken off, and one of them is right next to the head, and the other one is out there where you can maybe get to it a little bit. So we got to work those out of there and
Got our work cut out for us.
try to get this new exhaust manifold put on. Before you work on the exhaust, the best way to get to it is to take out the wheel well. Makes it a lot easier because you can get to the exhaust manifold with the wheel well missing from there a lot easier than trying to do it from the top or from the bottom. Okay, so we got the exhaust manifold off, worked out the one broken bolt that was in there, and that wasn't too bad. We just had to work it back and forth until it came out, and after about 5 minutes of wiggling it, it finally worked its way out. So the new kit from Dodge is a bit different than the old kit, or the old, what was originally installed on the head. There now is these bars that do something. What do they call those? Some kind of proper fastener placement in the retainer bar. So apparently there's something new with how you install this stuff to have that working. So looking at those retainer bars, this one here that isn't straight goes on top and lays in kind of like that, and the flat one lays in kind of like this with the extra hole over here on the right side. Now looking at the bolts, it's like, okay, if you got extra things here, the bolts have to be longer. So here's the original bolts that were in it, and here's the new ones. So if we look at it, the new ones are longer, so they should work. There's the original. Well, looks like there's two different sets. So, there's longer ones and shorter ones. I'm gonna have to look at this a little bit closer and figure out what's going on. Maybe there's one that has it and one that doesn't. I don't know. Okay, so looking at this a little bit closer, looking at this, the pre-2018, which this truck would be, it's a 2016. Cylinder heads do not have 10-bolt exhaust manifold flange. For these vehicles, 9 would become 8 and 10 would become 9 in the torque sequence. So here's the torque sequence, and everything gets torqued down to 25 Newton meters or 18 foot-pounds. And then the heat shield goes down to 70 inch-pounds. So that's a much lighter torquing. So if 9 would become 8, so 9 would become 8, and 10 would become 9. Oh, just 9th in the order. So you start with the middle one, go down and to the left, go over to the right, go up, then come all the way down to the left, then go all the way over to the right, then come up to the right, and then what do we know? Let's see, so 9 would become 8 and 8 would become 10. So 9 would become 8. So there must be one over here, and 10. There is no 10. So you would come in and do 9, 10, because there's not this one over here. So you just work your way out, and then after 7, you would, let's see, 9 would become 8. So after 7, everything's the same. But this one would become 8. And this one down here would become 10. Is that true? Let's look at this. So if everything is correct, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we got these two to deal with, because why didn't they just say 8, 9? Because what's the difference if 9 becomes 8? 9 becomes 8. So this one, so they want you to do this one, then that one. No, they want you to do 10. 10, that doesn't make any sense. There is no 10 on pre-18. Ah! Something right here in their instructions. 9 would become 8 and 10 would become 9. There would be no 10, so they must want you to do the outer one. 9 would become 8 and 10 would become 9. That doesn't make any sense. They must want you to do this one, then that one. Work your way to the outside. That makes no sense what they just said here. For those vehicles, 9 would become 8 and 10 would become 9. No, it would be, because 10 would become 9. And 9 would become 8. And then what happens to 10 would become 9. So you don't have a 10, but 9 would become 8 and 8. Is that right? 9 would become 8. So after 7, which is this one, then you come over here and do 8. No. 9 would become 8. And 10 would become 9. So you got to do this outer one here before you do this inner one there. That's what I think they're trying to tell us. Okay. Confusing, but I guess that's the way it should work. Okay, so as far as I can figure it out, the ones with the studs go here, there, there, and there. And then the silver bolts go in the middle here. And then if you use it, that bolt goes there. I don't remember taking that one out, but maybe we do have one there. But that's where that one would go. And then, as far as I can figure out, the torque sequence is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's where the confusing part comes in. But I think when they say 9 becomes 8, that means this would be the next one you do, and 10 becomes 9. That's what makes no sense here, that 10 would become 9, because you don't even have a 10 on this manifold. So I'm thinking they really meant to say that 8 would become 9. So I'm thinking you do this one, then that one. Alright guys, I think that's what the plan will be. Yep, that little one in front is there. So, alright. If you're wondering, yeah, that bolt does get used. But the 10 bolt does not, because there isn't one. Okay, looking at this again. This one here doesn't even exist. There's no hole in the head for that bolt. So, on the 2016. So, this one is 9, and this one over here is 10. There's nothing in this hole. So that's where the confusion has become.
This one is 8.
Yeah.
This one is 9.
Yeah, this is 8, that's 9. So in this picture, 10 should have been up in this gap here, not down in this flange there.
Correct.
So that's where the problem is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that should go in that hole. And this one here goes after number 7 there. So this one, that one, then this one is the last one that you torque. Okay, now we got everything torqued down to 18 foot-pounds, which is 216 inch-pounds. And then we put on the exhaust pipe. So when you're working on your truck and replacing the exhaust manifold, maybe it's a good time to replace the spark plugs too, because they're a lot easier to get to from underneath and then through the wheel well.
It saves your back a lot of strain and stress.
Me and the boys was sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.